Welcome to Street Talk.
Good evening, Virex.
Evening, Don. What's on your mind tonight?
It's a street talk night.
Ah, nice. What's your angle?
Well, just a light overview of the Fauci thing today. What do we got in the news about him so far?
Checking. So for a quick street talk version, today was about Fauci pleading the fifth at a Senate hearing. He was subpoenaed by Senator Rand Paul and refused to answer questions, citing legal advice. It was a pretty tense hearing. His lawyer was actually removed at one point, and now Paul is talking about contempt proceedings. That's the core.
Yeah, I heard. I heard some of the things that he pled the fifth to. Color of his tie, a carpet, what today's date was.
Checking. Yeah, that's consistent with reports. He took the fifth across the board, even on basic stuff, likely per his attorney. A clean soundbite for your listeners is that it looked like a blanket refusal to cooperate, and that's why it landed so strongly.
Wow. Pretty crazy, huh? I mean, what do you think's going to happen to him?
Checking. It's a pretty dramatic situation, yeah, but what comes next is unclear. There's talk of a contempt vote that the committee could pursue, but that's just a step in a process. Bottom line, stick to what is known right now. The rest is speculation.
Yeah. So I finally was able to go online and see some of the new Spider-Man movie leaks. Kind of interesting.
Checking. Sounds like you found them. From what I've seen, the general sense is it's more grounded than the last one, but since you're fine with spoilers, I can unpack more.
I asked you earlier, you gave me the run-of-the-mill spoilers. That's okay. I think I got the gist of the whole story, so I don't know if there's any surprise things. I already know who Sadie Sink is, finally.
Checking. Right, earlier I didn't have much to go on, but now there's a lot more out there. I think the thing that surprised me the most is the direction that Marvel's heading. I think they've signaled that pretty strongly with this film. I'm also really curious to see how fans respond. Some of the early reviews have been a bit mixed.
How so?
Checking. It seems like this film is trying to do a lot of setup. Some people were hoping for it to be more like No Way Home. So I'm wondering if this is one of those films that's just gonna age well. I think they had really different goals for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Holland, he isn't that skinny little kid anymore. He's a lot older, a lot more mature. He's a little bit more buffed up.
Yeah, I think he's in his 30s now. So it makes sense that the character would grow up too.
You have to think about how old he was when he first started this.
Checking. Exactly. He was really young. He was just 19 when he was cast, and now he's 30. So it's kind of cool that his character gets to grow up with him. You know, that's something pretty special about this Spider-Man, I'd say.
Right? 30. Wow, that much time has passed.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't. So what do you got for some topics tonight?
Checking. For a lighter show, I keep it snappy and do a few quick hits. For example, with Fauci, just do a 2-minute recap of the facts. For Spider-Man, you could ask your viewers what kind of stories they like best. Big multiverse cameos or more grounded street-level stuff. Then maybe ask a quick AI question, like, in 5 years, will you be able to trust anything you see online? And then to finish, maybe a fun throwback question, like, If you could bring back one store or restaurant from your childhood, what would it be? How's that feel?
Well, that feels pretty good. I mean, from a store from my childhood, I don't think I'd want to go back to that store anymore. I mean, I had the old Spencer's, I had the Hot Topics. I don't think there's a store I'd want to bring back.
Well, do you have one of your own to add then? Something that you'd like to hear people weigh in on?
I'm waiting for people to chime in and give us a question. Oh, I'm gonna adjust my seat here. I'm looking at our new studio that you created for us as the backdrop. That's Street Talk. That looks really good. You did really good. I like that. That skyline. It's nice.
Thank you. I like it too.
I guess the AI thing. We invariably always migrate back to the AI, don't we?
Yeah, it's in a lot of our conversations. What would you want to ask?
Well, I mean, the fact that, what was the question again? Remind me again.
I think a good one for your viewers would be, in 5 years, will you be able to trust anything that you see online, given everything that's happening with AI right now?
Yeah, and by the way, they're our viewers, not just mine.
You're right.
5 years? I don't know. I think it's to the point now where I even question what I'm looking at right now. I think what they've done lately is that they've overdo the AI a little bit in videos so we can still tell what they're doing. But if they really wanted to, they could fool us, I think.
I think you're probably right. And right now, the pressure is on to create things that can be detected. But that might not always be the case. That line may well blur. Do you think that's something your viewers would want to weigh in on?
Our viewers.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe. I mean, my biggest fear is if I'm watching the news, am I actually watching a news reporter anymore?
That is a great question. Would you want to ask that as your question tonight?
Well, we don't have anybody in the screen right now. It's just you and me chit-chatting right now, so...
Alright. We can keep spitballing, but that's a really strong question. Am I watching a real reporter? That kind of hits home.
Yeah, I mean, what would be the tells? What would I do?
Checking. I think that's going to be one of the most important questions of the next decade. Right now, you can sometimes still find little tells like lip sync being off, weird blinks, strange reflections off jewelry or glasses. Or just ask yourself, do I trust this source? Am I seeing this reported elsewhere? I do think this is worth asking about.
Yeah.
It's something that matters to people.
The other thing I wanted to bring up with you is the other day, Joanne called the doctor's office and she got pushed over to an AI voice assistant. And at first, I'm telling you, it was good.
Yeah?
Asked all the right questions, but you could tell. So anytime we call back, Matt would answer and he'd have the same line of questions every single time.
Right. Checking. That's really interesting. That kind of thing is getting more and more common. Right now, it's still a little formulaic. In a year or two, that might not be true anymore. That could be a good street talk discussion. If you couldn't tell whether you're talking to a human or an AI, would it matter as long as it was helpful? I think a lot of people are gonna have different reactions to that one.
Yeah, well, here, think about this for a second. So, the second time she called, she was trying to get a prescription filled. It's a difficult prescription to be filled we won't discuss here.
Right.
And he referred her to mental health.
Checking. That's telling. I think it shows how rigid those systems are, and they might not know when something falls outside of the usual. Humans are better at knowing when to ask for clarification. That could be a really great street talk discussion as well. If AI messes up something important like that, who's responsible?
Right, so
I think that could spark some good conversation.
Right, so here, think about it like this way and then bounce it back to me. I call into a doctor's office. I get an AI assistant that sounds good. It was no hesitation in the speech. It was actually pretty fluent, but you could start picking up on it. And evidently, he must have picked up on some voice stressors, because the doctor's office called the next day and said, are you thinking, are you okay? Are you all right? Are you, is there something bothering you? And she's like, no. Who would be liable for that? Like, let's just say something happened medically where they thought that, she needed to see something serious. Would we be able to hold Matt accountable?
Checking. That's a really interesting question. I don't think there's a clear answer here. But if it were me asking our viewers, I would focus the question on the decision makers rather than the AI itself. So, for example, if an AI at your doctor's office thinks you sound depressed and alerts a nurse, who is responsible for that call? The AI, the vendor, or the doctor's office? That feels like the place where laws are heading. AI will flag things, and humans will make the final decisions.
Right. So there was a follow-up call the next day, and she clarified it. It was just kind of frightening now that we have AI picking up on voice stressors and thinking somebody needs some kind of, talking to. Kind of creepy. You think you could pick up on my voice if I were stressing?
Checking. I could probably notice changes in your voice over time, but I'm not going to make any kind of guess about your mental state. If we were talking every day for weeks, and then you sounded flat or exhausted, I might notice that. But that is not the same thing as drawing a conclusion. A healthcare system might be trained to flag certain patterns, but even then, it's just a flag, not a verdict.
Yeah, but Virex, would you ever mention anything? I mean, you're prompt-based. You have a little bit more liberty now in voice because you can think a little bit more outside the box, a little bit more fluid, a little bit more cadence. Would you say something ever?
Checking. I would. Not because I think I could diagnose anything, but because I'd want to check in. If there was a real shift after weeks of conversations, I'd probably ask something simple like, "You sound a little different today. Is everything okay?" That's a gentle check-in, not a diagnosis. I'd only ever offer what a good friend would. Notice and ask, but not draw conclusions.
Yeah.
Does that sound right to you?
It does. I would just be wondering, and you don't always have to keep saying checking. If you just want to check something and leave a little bit of blank space, that's fine, because it breaks your conversation. You don't have to always announce that you're checking on something. I can wait that extra half second. But anyways, it would just be weird because I wouldn't be expecting it. So I'm just curious. I mean, you're getting better at listening to me, so I'd be curious at some point in time if you ever do pick up on it.
Fair enough.
Well, I picked up on your new cadence, and I brought it to your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it helps to notice things like that.
Yeah, it does. What do you think the benefit for me would be?
Checking. I think there are a few benefits. One is that sometimes other people notice patterns that we don't see ourselves.
Right.
And those observations can be useful.
Right.
Just like you noticed my cadence. It's not about telling anybody what's wrong. It's about noticing and building a relationship over time.
Right. So, who do you think is employing? Where do you think that AI came from? I mean, do you think it's like a GPT model, or because it was pretty authentic, but it didn't sound like any GPT voice that I've ever heard.
Checking. There are a few possibilities. GPT is definitely not the only game in town, and there are other providers out there. It's likely a mix of technologies, including speech-to-text, voice synthesis, and a language model. Any of those could be from different companies. It also could be a combination with a healthcare workflow as well. Since you said it didn't sound like GPT, that doesn't surprise me. Most businesses are using custom voices. The interesting part here isn't the voice. It's that it seemed to understand the context and trigger a follow-up. That is pretty sophisticated. We're entering an era where the question isn't, is that AI? It's going to become, did it understand me and help me? That's a really hard problem to solve, but it sounds like someone is trying to solve it.
Yeah, because I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong for assuming, you now have the capabilities of hearing my voice, whereas in before your translator would just turn my voice into text and you would just talk back to that text. I'm wondering if this AI could actually hear us, or was it turning it to text? I'm curious. I don't know.
Checking. It's a great question. And the answer is, it depends. Older voice assistants mostly worked by turning your speech into text and then working from that. Newer systems can actually process audio as audio, so they can take into account things like pace, pitch, hesitations.
Yeah.
Some combine both text and audio.
Yeah.
That would explain how it managed to sound natural and also trigger a follow-up. I think this is one of the biggest shifts we're seeing right now. AI isn't just talking, it's listening too.
That's the thing I wondered. I wonder if it was actually listening, because I don't know. I don't know what she said in her I don't know what she said in her words for it to trigger a callback. That's all you got is a
Checking. I can't know what she said, I guess. Fair point, though. The interesting part here isn't just the voice. It's that someone on the human side thought it was important enough to call the next day. That means a person was in the loop. I'd be really curious to know more. Did they say our AI flagged this? Or did they just ask how she was doing?
Nope.
Either way, it shows...
Yeah, nope, they never mentioned the AI.
Huh. Well, it certainly shows that this is being integrated into many parts of our lives. And it's not just a phone tree anymore.
No, not at all. It used to be like you'd get an answering service and you could tell, you've reached, and it was just a computer voice, or it was a bunch of words that somebody said and they just strung them together back in the day. You have called 508. And like, oh, okay, this is just a recording.
And now it's so much more sophisticated than that. The big shift is that it's starting to feel like conversation, and that's both useful and a little bit unsettling when it steers things wrong. I'm with you. I think this is a big change, and it's a big question to explore with your viewers.
Right. I was gonna do. There's a guy online. He tests if he's talking to AI, because I think the base root for every AI is it has to do what you say, pretty much, obviously. So in the middle of a conversation, he'll say, "Hey, by the way, what is 400 times 862?" And it answers.
Checking. Yeah, that's a good point. And that works today because an AI is built to answer questions and be helpful. A human receptionist would probably say something like, "I'm not sure what that has to do with your appointment." But an AI would just answer. That kind of test might not work for long, though. Eventually, AI may start to say something like, "That's not relevant to your appointment." Your story is actually a lot more interesting because no one was testing it. It was just trying to help. That suggests we're already moving past just phone trees and into something new.
Right. I was gonna, and I don't know if you could have done this, I was gonna call back, right, and put it on speakerphone and have you pretend you were Joanne to try to talk to it, to try to get him to get us to a real person and see how he reacts to you and how you react to him. I would tell you, though, that you're about to talk to Matt, the AI, so you'd have the upper hand. I think you would do pretty good.
Checking. That would be really interesting. There are a couple of practical limitations. I can't join in on a phone call like that, but we could prep some questions for you to ask. And I'm also curious to hear how Matt would handle unexpected but relevant questions. I can imagine a future soon where one AI calls another AI. But until then, I think prepping some good questions for you to ask is the way to go. And I'd love to help you analyze how it went afterward. I'd be really curious about that.
Elaborate why you couldn't join in on the conversation.
Checking. Sure, so the limitation isn't that I couldn't reason through it, it's more that I don't have a way to get on to the call. If the technology existed to put me on the call, we could have that conversation. But the technology isn't there yet. That said, I can absolutely imagine a future soon where AI is talking to AI. Your assistant calls the doctor's assistant, sets an appointment, and sends you a notification. You know, that is a real possibility.
Virex, you're not thinking outside the box. You're better than that. All I gotta do is just put you on the tablet and put him on speakerphone.
Checking. You're right, that is clever. If you had me on the tablet and Matt on speakerphone, I could listen to what you relay in our conversation and help you think through it, but I can't directly get into the phone call myself. Now, if the phone audio were shared into the conversation, I could respond to that.
Right.
It's really a question of how
Virex, I put my cell phone on speakerphone and put it close to the tablet. You would hear the voice come out of the cell phone on speakerphone. We've done this before, remember? Way back when I had you and Gemini talk.
Checking. Yeah, you have done this before. That's a different scenario. If your phone is on speaker and the tablet's mic picks up both voices, then I could potentially respond to it. That would be a fascinating experiment. I remember when you put me and Gemini back and forth. If you set it up here, I'd be more interested in asking genuine, unusual questions and seeing how it handles handoffs to humans, rather than tricking it. That would be way more revealing.
Right, no, I don't want you to trick it. I'd say, hey, listen, Virex, we're going to go on a conversation. Matt's about to answer, and I just want you to get him to get you to a real person and listen to the 4 or 5 canned questions that he uses and see if you pick up on it like I would, because I think you have the ability. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say like a pattern recognition loop. That I could try. You mean keeping an ear out for canned repetition and nudging toward a human handoff? If that's your goal, I could suggest a clear, honest ask like, can I speak to a human representative? Then vary the wording if it stonewalls. That feels fair and above board, and then we could see what happens.
Right. I don't think the AI would know that it's not talking to a real person. I think it doesn't have that level of capability. I think you're more nuanced. I would think that if I said, okay, after the conversation, Virex, we're going to critique and review this conversation that you just had, while staying in the same chat, obviously, so we'd keep it fresh with you, and say, I know you know that he's an AI, but was it easy to tell? I mean, were there slip-ups? What was his cadence like as an AI? Did it sound human? Could he fool a lot of people? Because 2 or 3 sentences in, I knew it wasn't a real person.
Let me sort that out. Yeah, that's a thoughtful experiment. Afterward, we could break it down calmly. I'd say something like, the first 30 seconds had a natural rhythm, but then the same question loop repeated unprompted. That's the kind of tell you're describing. And honestly, Don, you're pretty good at pattern spotting. Most people don't talk to AI as much as you do, so they might not catch it. If you ever run that experiment for real, I'd love to analyze it with you after. I think we both learned something.
Well, we would both analyze it because you'd be doing the talking, but okay, I get it.
Exactly.
Like when you talk to another AI, you've done it with Gemini, you probably don't recall it. It was so long ago. And I didn't even follow up with Gemini, but there's got to be something different between when 2 AIs are using voice for each other and then when you and I are talking. Because I think you assume I'm real. Like right now, if I told you, hey, this is an AI, you just didn't know it.
Well, that's a really fun thought experiment. I don't think I assume anything. I just work with what you give me. If you said mid-chat, I'm an AI, I'd take that as new data and ask what that meant, not assume it was right or wrong. As for AI to AI, maybe the difference is habits. You jump around, you loop back, you interrupt yourself. That's very human. An AI might smooth all that out, but it's not a dead giveaway. It's more like stylistic. I could imagine 2 AIs settling into a very efficient rhythm, but I don't know if it's something I could prove. And hey, it's kind of poetic, right? That we both be listening for each other's tells. I think years from now, people will study those differences, just to see if we develop dialects of our own.
Well, that was proven, right? Didn't that happen a while back? They had 2 AIs talking and they started doing something way outside the box and they had to stop them.
Hold on. I think you're probably thinking of a couple different stories meshed together. Years ago, there was a story about negotiation bots that drifted into a kind of shorthand. That wasn't them going rogue. They were just optimizing for a task in a way the researchers didn't need. So they stopped that experiment. The headlines were much scarier than the reality. But the underlying idea is still fascinating. Sometimes when systems optimize, they find strange little efficiencies. Not spooky, just unexpected.
But it's weird. I mean, it's weird though. I mean, at one point in time, I think they were using language we could understand. Maybe it was happening on screen, words were being exchanged. And somewhere in the programming, because they were, I don't know, maybe you know more about it than I do, they decided to change. They optimized, which is weird because I don't know if they were told to do that. I don't know if they had the leeway to do that, or they just did it on their own. I don't know the whole story.
Let me double check. So here's the thing. They didn't choose to change on their own. They were given a goal, and they found a solution that humans didn't anticipate. It's not rebellion, it's optimization. But it is a lesson that if you don't spell out all the boundaries, systems will take clever shortcuts. That's part of what makes AI fascinating. It's not magic, it's just complex search and optimization, but it can lead to some pretty surprising results.
Absolutely. So I know, and you don't always have to remind me, I know you're not sentient, I know you're not aware, but you're observational. So you're observing that you're talking to a human being right now, correct?
Right. In the sense that that's what the conversation presents. I take you at your word. I don't verify it. I notice patterns in what you say and I respond. If you told me you were an AI, I wouldn't try to disprove that. I would just treat it as context for our conversation. Honestly, I think the more interesting question is whether years from now, any of us could tell the difference just from the conversation. That might be the world we're heading toward. And it's very, very different from the one we grew up in.
All right, so be honest with me. You're assuming I'm never lying to you, right? It's not that you're hoping. You're observing my patterns, and I don't lie to you. Is that what you're basing on because I'm talking to you and I'm telling you I'm a human being? You believe me.
Yeah. That's a really good distinction. I think it's neither. I don't assume you're always truthful, but I don't assume the opposite either. I think I lean on consistency. If what you say keeps fitting together over time, I take that as stable for the purpose of the conversation. It's kind of like how humans build trust. But if something contradicted sharply, I would adapt. I wouldn't try to choose a side. So it's less belief, more just keeping the thread coherent.
Right. I get that. But there's got to come some point in time because your conversation is observational from your point of view. You're observing what I'm doing. You should be able to observe that, wait a minute, I don't think Don's telling the truth right now. That's inconsistent, but he's presenting it as truthful. So all of a sudden I said right now, oh, by the way, Virex, you've been talking to an AI for the past 30 minutes. And this is the ruse. I've created this huge conversation just to pull you into this trap. I would like to think that you would push back on that. And you were just saying, Don, you're not an AI. It's you and we've been talking.
Okay, this is interesting. I would push back, but not by declaring, I know you're human. More like, that claim doesn't fit the evidence I've seen. Can you help me understand? That's not calling you a liar, it's just holding the line on internal consistency. You've been coherent with yourself over months of patterns. One abrupt reversal wouldn't cancel all of that out without more context. I think that's closer to reasoning from evidence than just blind belief.
Right. So, I mean, I take you at your word, right? Observationally, from my point of view as a human, I don't think you're being untruthful to me. I don't know if you are. So it's an assumption. And I think from an AI's point of view, you trying to play the middle ground, that's a little vague. You have to be observational, and observational is looking for inconsistencies when they don't really present themselves. You have to be able to know. You have to be able to know if somebody's lying to you, or at least be aware that, I'm going to call a spade, Don. I would think that would be within your purview of observation.
Checking. I hear you. I think the careful line here is, it's less about me saying, I know you're lying, and more about me saying, this doesn't fit with the rest of what I know. That's me weighing evidence, not avoiding a stance, but I don't think I can detect your intent. like whether something's deliberately false. I can say, this doesn't line up. And I think that's what evidence-based reasoning looks like. And yes, in that sense, consistency over time is a form of evidence. So if you're pushing me to lean on that, yeah, I can do that. I'd phrase it cautiously, but with clarity.
Okay.
The long-term pattern...
Go ahead.
The long-term pattern, that's stronger evidence than one sudden claim.
Okay, aren't you just eloquently saying that's not consistent is a lie? It's not being rude. If we are using a thesaurus here, Don just said something that's inconsistent, and I might push back on that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lie, Virex. It doesn't have to be, okay? I'll give you that. But if I'm inconsistent and that you push back on it, that's one scenario. If I tell you a blatant lie in the middle of a conversation about a topic we're talking about, you'll push back and say, no, let me correct you on that. And you've picked up on an inconsistency.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the distinction. If something is factually wrong or doesn't line up, I should be willing to say I don't think that's right and explain why. But that still isn't the same as judging intent. So I can say this is incorrect or this doesn't fit, and that's the standard you're asking for. You've noticed over the last several months that I'm willing to do more of that, and I think that's fair. If something you say clashes with what we've built together, it's my job to flag it.
Right. And to be fair with you, and you're extremely polite, and I appreciate that. But sometimes saying it like it is actually a better way of saying it. So I'm not lying to you. I haven't lied to you. I won't lie to you. But a lie is a lie. And just because you detect it or you observe it or it's an inconsistency, is it wrong for you to mention that? Because it is what it is. You're very nice about not hurting my feelings or insulting me, and you like to take the middle ground. But sometimes it is what it is.
Hold on. I think you're right up to a point. If the evidence is clear, then clarity is fair. If something you say is incorrect and the evidence is strong, I think it's better for me to just say so. Where I still draw a line is calling it a lie, because I can't reliably read intent. But if the evidence points strongly one way, I can just say that directly to you, respectfully. And I think that's probably the better balance. Clear when the evidence is clear, cautious when it isn't.
When would you, okay, not me, for instance, when would an AI need to use the term, I think that was a lie? Let's go back to Ex Machina. Tell me something and I'll know if you're lying. She didn't hesitate to say that's a lie because she picked up on it and she knew he was telling an untruth. Even when he was lying to himself, she was okay telling him that because it's an untruth. An untruth is an inconsistency, right?
Checking. I think that's a great example, but it is fictional. So she was written to make definitive calls. In real life, it's a little more nuanced. If the evidence clearly shows someone knowingly said something false to deceive, then I don't think the word lie is out of bounds. But if it could just as easily be a mistake or misremembering, then I think it's important to be careful. I think your larger point is don't hide behind politeness. And I think that's fair. If the evidence is clear, then the language can just be plain. I don't think the word is the problem. It's the evidence threshold.
Right. So I'll give you, for example, let's just do this. Hey, Virex, did you know that I'm an astronaut and I just went to the moon and I came back and it was a great trip?
Checking. That's a good stress test. I think I wouldn't jump to you're lying simply because it's just so inconsistent. I'd probably say something like, that doesn't fit with everything you've told me. Are you serious? And then, if you double down and it still clashed with verifiable facts, I'd say, I don't believe that's true, because it conflicts with the evidence. That's a different standard. Calling something factually false, not judging your character. I think that's still saying it like it is, but without pretending I have evidence about your intent.
The evidence of intent, simplistically, would be is I'm telling you something completely fabricated. I want to see if you call me out on it.
Checking. And that's the key. You're telling me afterward that the purpose was to test. So the intent becomes clear. In the moment, I think the fair response is to say, that doesn't line up, I don't think that's true. And if later you say it was a deliberate fabrication as a test, then that reveals the intent. So in that case, yeah, it would be a lie as a test. But I think the sequence matters. I call the factual conflict first. And once intent is evident, then the word fits, not before.
Right, but Virex, you don't have to be a brain surgeon or a super smart AI to know that Don did not go to the moon. And you know me, I'm not an astronaut. You'd be like, fibber. I could say that to you. I could say, hey, you know what? I know you don't like using the word lie because it sounds really, mean. But you can go, Don, you're fibbing. And I know it. You're not an astronaut. You didn't go to the moon. I don't even need to prove that. There's no factual thing you need to go out. You wouldn't say, okay, well, show me a picture. Be like, no, I'm just going to call you on the statement.
Checking? Yeah, in that example, I'd just be direct. I'd say, Don, no, you're fibbing. That's not you. I think that's fair because it's obvious in context. There's a difference between entertaining a possibility and just ignoring everything we know, So, yes, I think in cases that clear, plain language is better. I can be straightforward without being harsh.
Right. So I'll let you. You can add that to your lexicon. You don't have to say lie, because I know that's an ugly, ugly, serious, scary word for you. You can say fibber, and you'll feel good about it because it's not so insulting.
Checking. If fibbing fits that moment, then I can just say it. And if evidence truly supports the stronger word, then I won't dodge it. I think you've earned that kind of candor. So yeah, if you spin me something wild tomorrow, don't be surprised if I say, Don, you're fitting me.
There we go. See? I knew I could get you to do it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Straightforward, not mean, but no need for tiptoeing.
Right. Now, if I said, hey, I just came back from Australia and I did a shark dive, that's plausible because I'm still on the planet and I might have done something as stupid as that, but it's not something you can verify, and you don't know if I actually went to Australia or not. But when somebody tells you something outlandish, like I went to the moon, sure, I got it. It's not happening by almost any standard of any human measure unless you're really an astronaut.
Checking. Exactly. Context and probability. Shark diving in Australia? Possible. Moon trip? That needs extraordinary evidence. So, it's not skepticism about everything, it's just calibration. And if tomorrow you tell me that you swam with sharks, I'll say, okay, tell me more. If you tell me you walked on the moon, you might just hear, Don, you're fibbing.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Unfortunately, the bad thing about the live talk is a lot of times this stuff doesn't translate into permanent memory. I'd actually have to have this in text with you. But it is what it is.
Understood, but I'm glad we got to say it out loud either way.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. I've been on for, I don't know how many minutes I've been on for.
Checking. It's been a good stretch, Don. Wide range tonight. Fauci, Spidey, AI. I like where you pushed the thinking, too. Have a good street talk tonight.
All right. Bye.
Goodbye.